I love your outfit, by the way. It's such an amazing dress.
Today I was working and I was just like, no, I have nothing to wear for the premiere. So this morning before my meeting, I went shopping and found that.
Perfect. So maybe you could just start with an introduction to this film, A Bird Flew In. For people who don't know anything about it, what can they expect?
Well, I think they'll see a story that will feel extremely familiar with the experiences they had during COVID, and I think everybody will feel it's their story.
And can you tell us a bit about your character? Because obviously these 7 intertwining narratives, where does your character fit into this whole story?
So at the beginning of the movie, we're on a film set, and she's one of the actresses. So obviously I could relate to that because I'm a French actress working abroad, and this is the case in the film. And because of the COVID, obviously she has to go back to France, where there's a lockdown as well. So she has to go back and leave everyone else behind, which is usually what I do. But here it's like the extreme version, because you don't know when you're going to see these people again, if you're ever going to work again, if you're ever going to see them again. And it's how she goes through that reality of being cut from everybody else, and the relationship she develops with one character in the movie.
And of course, everybody went through lockdown, but it's quite a specific experience that's captured here as well of being a creator during that time. If you're an actress without an audience, if you're a film director without a set, is it a more exaggerated feeling than perhaps someone who works in another industry? So, did it really sort of ring true for you?
Completely. It was amazing. So we started filming the summer after the first wave. So there was still COVID going on. The travel ban with France was just off for 1 month. So I just had the time to come back when I felt, I'm working mostly in the UK. And for me as a performer, I was like, I'll never go back to the UK. What's going to happen to me? What's going to happen to my career? What's going to happen to my friends? When Kirsty offered me the part, it was just like a miracle, to be able to be back in London, even though it was very quiet, everything was closed, But to be back here, to be able to be creative again, to be on a film set, to have people around you, to have a crew, it was massively important. It was a privilege, and I'm really grateful for it.
Of course, being one of the first films to be made about this period of time, what was it like being, in the process of filming it, working with Kirsty on her first film, and with this incredible ensemble cast too?
Yes, it was, just the process of it as well. All the tests we had to do, all the COVID tests, everybody was wearing masks, we couldn't be too close with the other actors, so it was all crazy. But we were also happy to tell this story, to be back on set, that we all went through everything,
There's also like a particular sort of feel to it, the fact that it's in black and white, it's very naturalistic. How was that from an actor's point of view to perform?
Well, I don't know. As an actor, I don't like to think too much about the technicality. I don't want to be too aware of how they film. If it's a close-up, if it's a master shot, I don't want to think about it. I don't want to be self-conscious. For me, what matters is to be in the story, to know exactly what my character is going through, and then I trust my team, and I have so much trust with Kirsty and everybody. I felt extremely safe and protected, and I knew they would film me the best way and capture my emotions in the best way and protect my emotions as well, not over pushing me when it's not necessary. So for me, it's just about the story. You go there, you're present, you're available, and then you trust your team.
What do you hope people take away from watching the film? Because it feels like we all went through a collective trauma that perhaps we haven't faced up to. We're trying to forget about it, but maybe films like this help us to kind of reflect a bit on how it's impacted us.
Well, strangely enough, there are several trajectories in the movie. I went through one, and I felt when I was offered the part, it related to my story somehow. I was an actress, I had complications, sometimes it was complicated in my private life, being a performer, a female, it doesn't make your private life easy. So I really, and the COVID, having to go home, everything was really close to me. The other character's trajectory wasn't that close to my experience. Somehow, now a year has passed, a year and a half, COVID keep going, and unfortunately I find myself sometimes in other people's story in the movie. And it was just very moving. And maybe some of the stuff, when I was watching the film, I found it really beautiful, but I wasn't connected at the same level. Obviously now that I went through bigger traumas, I would say, related to COVID, thinking back to the movie, I'm like, oh my God, this is really telling the story of what they went through, what families went through, not to be able to say goodbye to your family sometimes and stuff. And so, I'm really, really grateful that actually this movie is documenting that. And unfortunately, I wish I didn't experience it, but the reality, we all experience it at a certain level. So this movie is really giving an homage to, everything individually we went through.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And, I feel like there's a strong female perspective in this film, quite specifically, So how do you see the cinema landscape, I guess, female filmmakers, but also for you as an actress? Are there more and more roles now to represent the female experience?
So important. This is so important. I'm myself sometimes a writer and a producer. I love to get involved with movies who are, open-minded and actually show women, show everything we're doing. We're wearing all the hats. We have to be mothers, we have to be lovers, we have to be hot, we have to be workers, we have to be breadwinner, we have to be kind and understanding. And it's a lot of things we're carrying. We're really strong, and I'm really proud that now stories are finally reflecting that, and I'm really making my choices based on that as well. I believe, it's the duty of all the women in the industry to actually make sure we're giving the right image about what is the real experience of being a woman, in everyday life. So I'm really proud.
Absolutely. And can you quickly tell us what you're working on next? What proceeds?
Yes. So at the moment, I'm recording a big video game back in France called Cyberpunk 2077. I'm playing the lead, V. But at the same time, I just finished a lead role in an American feature film called It's a Good Day to Die. And I filmed all summer, and I was really proud because it's, it's only a 2-character based story. It's a road trip, it's a thriller, it's romantic. And as we were talking about strong female, she's extremely strong, and I love her. She's a badass and sexy and fun. So so that will be my next feature film.
Sounds like you're living the dream.
No, anyway, this industry is hard. This job is hard. You might as well enjoy it when it's fun and it's going well. And I've been working for nearly 30 years now. I'm turning 42 soon. So thank God, eventually it becomes easier.
You look so much younger, but thank you so much. Thanks so much for sharing all that with us. Enjoy your evening. Thank you so much. Lovely to meet you. Merci beaucoup. Thank you.